Silent Hill 2 starts with a man named James going for a piss inside of a public toilet. He says he got a letter.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary.
So what you're telling me here, Jimmy, is that Mary got a letter. James is clearly a nosy fucker who reads other people's mail. His neighbours are still confused as to why they're not receiving Christmas cards. James gets a letter from his super dead wife Mary, who died 3 years ago from a cough, COVID, food down the wrong hole, too much But dead people can't write letters, so he's very confused. Turns out she wants to meet up because she's down to fuck, and Jimmy sees no red flags in this and gets lost within the first 5 seconds and asks a girl who took acting lessons from 𝐥𝐢𝐬𝐬 where to go. Jimmy runs dick first through Silent Hill, determined to get to the park while running past slimy monsters that do the chicken dance. Roads are blocked from all angles because that's 100% how towns work, and uses some weird Mr. Bean logic to try and cut through an apartment complex, except this doesn't work at all, and is instead running around breaking into people's homes, stealing cans of Monster before finding a guy who's so drunk from a night out he came in with a traffic cone on his head. This guy's getting a little too frisky, but is too drunk to realise that he's shagging a mannequin. James, being the filthy pervert that he is just watching from the closet, having a cheeky tug. Jimmy bumps into other people, first off an Asbo child who attacks him for trying to pick up a key, and a bloke named Eddie who was on the same stag do as the man with the cone on his head. You can tell this from him chucking up 15 pints of Foster's in the toilet. And of course Lady 𝐥𝐢𝐬𝐬, who's been all emo listening to My Chemical Romance in front of a mirror. Jimmy loses focus on his objective and sticks his hand down a toilet. Disgusting! He starts collecting pound coins and then walks into a room where the lad with the cone on his head wants to have a fight. After running around him in circles for a few minutes, the dude gets very dizzy and needs to throw up, and Jimmy can finally go to the park. On this trip out, sees the Asbo child again, who is like,
"When you went down on these cries like a bitch, you said somebody else said it, you fucking scumbag!"
Jimmy doesn't want to be attacked again, so merrily strolls on his way to the park where a lady is. She looks like Mary, but in a super hooker form. And she's like, "I'm not Mary, I'm Maria," in the same way that Stu Pickles has a bit of a weird one in the Rugrats.
Maria.
It's Roman. Let's go bowling.
Maria's like, "For fuck's sake, Roman, I don't want to go bowling." She says she doesn't want to be left alone with all of the monsters, but is happy to wait outside while Jimmy attempts a perfect 300 game. It turns out that Eddie is in the bowling alley as well, and has ordered himself a stuffed crust from Pizza Hut and isn't willing to give James a slice. Rude as fuck. The Asbo child is there and runs off the moment she sees James. James runs after the child down a back alley, almost gets himself put on a register, but don't worry, the child escaped. The hooker takes him to a strip club, but Jimmy wants to go to the hospital instead because it's into some weird roleplay. The hospital is terrible. There's no doctors here. I think the NHS went on strike again, and all of the nurses have the bedside manner of Danny Dyer.
You want me to fucking strip off, do you?
Next up, there is a stupid lock puzzle that requires 1,000,000 keys, and interpreting shit smears on a wall. Like, what does this even say? Jimmy does all this, plays the most disappointing game of pass the parcel ever to reveal a strand of hair. What? So he goes back to Maria like, "I found some hair," but she doesn't care and she's died of boredom. And then Jimmy finds the Asbo child who locks him in a room and is mean to him. She calls him a fart face. He might be a fart face, but he's a fart face that doesn't have dead parents. Then it's boss time as 3 dangling half-assembled pieces of IKEA furniture with gooey bits in them descend from the ceiling and attack. Jimmy kicks their ass and then passes out because he gets a little too excited. Now we see a different version of the hospital where the janitors haven't shown up for work that day and is in serious need of some silly bang. Nothing makes sense here, so Jimmy goes to the fridge to get himself a chocky milk but is too weak to open the door. Maria comes back to life and starts giving him shit because he didn't pass the salt when she asked for it 4 years ago, and then Triangle Boy comes back and chases them both down a hallway. The hooker dies and Jimmy feels sad, but don't worry, the Asbo child walks by and Jimmy remembers that he needs to give her a slap across the face, and then goes to something called a historical society, whatever that is. Is that a museum? An after school club? A neighborhood watch? Whatever it is, there is a really long set of stairs that takes a week to walk down. Down here he finds Maria, who's alive again, but she's trapped in horny jail, telling Jimmy that he needs to go and get their sex tape from the hotel, but Jimmy is dumb as fuck and doesn't understand anything that's going on. Much like me, are you following so far? So Jimmy starts yeeting himself down massive holes because, fuck it, there's no fall damage here, and does this a bunch of times until he gets so stuck they can't go any further. But don't worry, some random item collecting later, he gets himself a horseshoe, a wax doll and a lighter, and does some weird Blue Peter crap, and suddenly has himself a handle to open a hatch. He just needs a couple of pipe cleaners and a dab of PVA glue, and then he's built himself Tracy Island from Thunderbirds. He walks into Triangle Boy's bedroom and confiscates his massive knife because safety first. Jimmy finds Lady 𝐥𝐢𝐬 again, and she's been attacked by a bag of potatoes on a table, so she kills the thing in the same way that Motley Crue trashes the hotel. Then James meets up with Eddie, who we find is a bit of a nutter. He killed a dog and did a school shooting, and we have to lock him in the freezer like you do with the old man in Tomb Raider 2. After falling 1,000,000 feet below sea level, Jimmy walks out of the freezer to reveal that he's walked about 15 feet to the back of the building. I'm sure he could have just climbed the fence, but whatever. Then he gets on a boat and heads for the hotel, but can't get to the super special room yet because the check-in times are after 4 PM, so he wanders around into people's rooms and even the staff room, where he learns that he's too heavy to go in the elevator with all of the guns on him, so he needs to stop being American for a moment, put his guns down, and heads downstairs to get that sex tape. Clearly all of the staff have been jerking off to it, and then he walks into a pantry. Jimmy has the munchies and tries to open up a tin. It has light bulbs in it. I see no issues here. So he heads back upstairs and starts stealing Disney princess statues that make jingle jingle sounds that give him a key. He watches his sex tape, gets upset that someone recorded the match of the day highlights over it, remember that he killed his wife, the Asbo child beats him up, and then his radio goes off, and it's Mary, and she's like, "I'm not dead, dumbass, come and find me." And you know what they say, fool me once,
shame on you. It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
And just like that, he's been fooled again because Jimmy's brain is in his dick. Upon leaving, he finds Lady 𝐥𝐢𝐬 again, and she's doing her best "this is fine" meme impression. He then finds the hooker again, and she's about to be spit roasted by Triangle Boy and his identical twin, and she dies again because of course she does. And then Jimmy has stopped caring at this point and then beats up the two lads, and then she comes back to life again, but this time she's dressed as Mary in another sick weird roleplay thing, and then she dies finally for real this time, and then Jimmy goes home, or he drowns, or he takes the hooker home, or a dog does something, or I don't know. The moral of the story is don't suffocate your COVID-ridden wife because you're horny. 10 thumbs up. GG. Hi, this is AK here, and thank you so much for watching this video. I'm hoping you really liked it, and if you did, remember to do that thing where you put the thumbs up. Do it. The thumb's coming close. You gotta do it. You gotta put the and comment down below with all of the other games that you would love to see me cover in this poorly explained series. I've got a bunch of scripts in the work, but let me know what things interest you and tell me, and do all the other things, and tell your friends about this video and other things. I don't know how to win videos. Bye.